Hi guys, it's Ms. Gonzalez. I wanted to go over some measuring vocabulary. I know that you're doing this this week and some of you are struggling with it, so I kind of want to review what you're doing at home. So the first one that we have is a centimeter. And when you think of a centimeter, I want you to think of the nail on your pinky. That's about how much a centimeter is. Or you could also think about the eraser of a pencil. That's about how big a centimeter is. Or even one of those base 10 blocks that we have in class, the blue ones. That's about how big a centimeter is. Now when we talk about inches, when you hear the word inch, I want you to think about the size of a paper clip. So about this size, that would be an inch. Or a cube. How big a cube is, that's how about what an inch is. Or the knuckle to knuckle on your finger. So from here to here, that's about how much an inch is, okay? From here to here. So think about that. Now, when you think about foot, when you hear the word foot, okay, think about the length of your binder when you measure your binder, or the laptop. If we take our laptop and measure from here to here, that's about a foot. And think about your elbow and your fingers. From your fingers to your elbow, that would be measuring about 1 foot. So let's think that 1 foot equals 12 inches. So right here, if I have my ruler here, this is about a foot, a whole ruler. Then we also have meter. When you hear the word meter, I want you to think about your arm span. When you spread out your arms, that's about how big a meter is, or about this big ruler that we have. I don't know if you remember seeing it in class, but we had one of these big rulers. That's about how big 1 meter is. Now when we think about the word yard, or when you hear about the word yard, think about how big a baseball bat is. That's about how big a yard is. Or your refrigerator in your house. When you measure it from here to here, that's about how big a yard is. Now that we have gone over these words, I want us to talk about your homework in your math book. I know that this week you're working on measuring objects in centimeters to the nearest centimeter. So I want us to look at this, please. Do you see here where it says centimeters on your ruler? Since we're measuring in centimeters, then you need to make sure that when you have a ruler, you're looking at the centimeters part. So if I have my ruler right here, if you notice, one says inches and one says centimeter. I'm going to measure using the side of the centimeter. So if we look at this cube is about 2 centimeters. Now I usually draw a line where my object starts and where it ends, okay? Now, if you notice, it doesn't really end on the 2, but it's almost there, okay? And this halfway mark, this line right here that's a little bit bigger, okay, that's called my halfway mark. So if my object passes that halfway mark, then we're going to say that this cube is closer to 2. So this would be 2 centimeters long because we're measuring to the nearest centimeter. Okay? Now let's look over here. If the object is longer than the halfway mark, use the greater number. So for example, this one right here, my halfway mark, it's pointing to it. This is passing that halfway mark, so that's why we know that this is 2 centimeters long. So that's why it is important that you draw your lines. Okay, let's look at this paper clip. Now, I'm going to draw my line, so it starts right here and it ends right there. It doesn't end exactly on the 3, but it ends on those marks right there in the middle. But I know that my halfway mark, that big line right here that you see, is right here. And my object is shorter than this halfway mark. So I am going to say that this paper clip is closer to 3 centimeters long because it doesn't pass that halfway mark. Okay, that's what we're going to guide ourselves by. Now, at home, what I want you to do is I want you to find real objects. I know you probably don't have a stapler, so find something else and measure it using your ruler. You have a book, measure your book. But you see here where it says estimate, you need to guess before you measure your book about how many centimeters do you think your book is. And then write what you think. And then take your ruler and actually measure your book that you have at home. You can measure your math book, your reading book, and then write how many centimeters is. Over here. Okay? This says the width of a shoelace. That's where you tie your shoes. The string that you tie your shoe. So see if you can measure that. If not, find something else and measure it. It doesn't have to be this one. I'm sure you have a chair. So look at the width of your chair from here to here and guess how many centimeters do you think it is. And then take your ruler and measure your chair that you have at home. I know you have a pencil at home. So guess how many centimeters do you think your pencil is, and then measure your pencil. You probably have scissors, and if you don't, then use something else, another object. Guess, and then write it. Okay? Now, let me show you how I want you to measure at home. So if you have a ruler, we're going to use not the inches, but the centimeter side. And you're going to measure. So I have this eraser right here that I want to measure. I'm going to measure it to the centimeter, on the centimeter side. And it is, if you have to put it right on the line and then stop where it ends. Where does this end? It ends on, almost on 11. It's 11 centimeters. So I'm going to say this is 11 centimeters. If I want to measure my paper clip, I can. Just make sure that you line it up with your ruler. And this paper clip is 3 centimeters long because that's where it ends. If I want to measure my glue stick, just put it where it ends, at the end of your ruler, and then look at that number that it ends. And this looks like it ends on 8. So this is 8 centimeters long. So this is how you can measure objects at home. Find objects to measure in centimeters. And then you have this paper. Here, they already gave you the ruler, so use their ruler. Show your work. Draw your line where it starts and where it ends. And remember the rule. Your halfway mark is right there. If this doesn't pass your halfway mark, then you have to go to the nearest centimeter. Go back and look at this to do this. This one, it says, Nick wants to put another pen end to end. So he already has this pen that starts here and it ends on 7. If he puts another pen over here, how many centimeters would those two pens be together? So make sure you're reading this carefully. If he wants to put another pen end to end, so if he puts another pen right here, end to end, what would be the centimeters total? Okay? Okay, read this because this is going to explain to you about your halfway mark. See where it starts and where it ends. Pay attention because all this is giving you ideas of how to do it. And then find objects in your home to measure. Okay, here you're going to actually measure this spoon right here in centimeters with a ruler and write how much it is. Then you're going to take a ruler and measure this paper clip. And it's asking you, if you added 3 centimeters to this, what would you get? In this one, I want you to think. It says Mia has a string that is 15 centimeters long. So we see that her string is 15 centimeters long. What shape can Mia make using this string? I'm going to give you a clue here. In order for you to find out what she can use, because we know that this is 15 centimeters, then I probably need to find out how big this is. I would probably add 3 plus 5 plus 4 and figure out how much this one is. The same thing for this one and figure out which shape or shapes can she make using her string. Okay, then you have this right here. You're still working with centimeters, but you're matching. That means you're drawing a line on these things. So you're looking at your object. What would you measure a paper clip with? Or how much would it be? Would it be 1 centimeter, 10 centimeters, 1 meter, or 10 meters? Let's look about this truck right here. The table, a crayon. Okay, go back and look at those words. Here, it says measure the length of the object shown. Use a ruler or a meter stick to measure. So you can measure this one right here, or find a real object and measure it at home. And that's what you're going to do. What I want you to practice is, I really want you to practice measuring with a ruler. So find different objects and measure it. That's what I want you to practice. You also can go back to the beginning of your book where your topic started, and it has vocabulary words that you can go back and look. You should have looked at those words when you started the unit. Those vocabulary words that help you understand. It's at the beginning of topic 14, I believe. Here, these words. Review these words. Inch, centimeter, meter. All these words are going to help you to understand length, foot, yard, to understand what you're doing. I hope this helped you understand a little bit more about measurement. If you have any questions, please let me know so that I can help you. Have a good day.